So good morning, everyone.
Hello. Good morning.
And welcome. Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Kiawe, and Sugaree peoples. My name is Ann Lakaitis, and I will be the worship assistant this morning for our minister, Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we're very glad you're here, in person or with us online, and we hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. Our announcements for this Sunday: our generosity campaign kickoff picnic is this coming Saturday at Franklin Park. The church provides all the food without any cost to you. Please sign up via the email link. Nadia has the banned books event after church today, and it's in the meeting house. So it's for all ages. Please join us after church for that. The soul collage, led by Reverend Amy, will take place here in the sanctuary after the service. Please join our social action team after church 1 week from today to sort donations for Hearts for the Invisible. Lunch will be provided. At this point, Gia will come forward to introduce someone from our Shared Plate partner for the month of October, which is You Can Vote.
Thank you, Ann. Today we have with us someone here from You Can Vote, and her name is Amy Bogie, Development and Communications Director for You Can Vote. They will be our shared partner starting next month. So just to be clear about that. Amy?
Thanks so much for having me today. I'm with You Can Vote. We are a nonpartisan 501c3 organization based here in North Carolina that does voter education, registration, and empowerment across the state. We're headquartered in the Triangle, but we've got 7 offices, including right here in Charlotte. And we are thrilled to be the beneficiary for October. Today was when it worked out for me to come, so I'm happy to be here whenever our schedule's allowed. We're, as you can probably imagine, very busy right now. I'm currently working 7 days a week, but that's okay because it matters and this is important. We are building towards the voter registration deadline here in North Carolina, which is on October 11th this year. So if you know anybody in your life who needs to get registered or update their registration if they've moved recently, please make sure they do so by October 11th. We have some materials in the back also about how to vote, what you need to bring with you, and all the rules that you need to know, as well as what's on your ballot this year. As some of you may be aware, North Carolina has a long history of voter suppression. There are changing rules that make it really confusing every year. For instance, this year we have voter ID. If you voted in Charlotte's municipal elections last year, you may have experienced this already, but the vast majority of voters don't know all of the ins and outs of what they need to do to comply with that law. So that's a huge part of what we're working on right now, is making sure that everyone across the state is educated about what they need to bring with them and what they need to do to comply with some of these new laws. We also had some changes last year to voter eligibility for justice-involved individuals who have felony convictions, and there have been some additional changes, as you may be aware, to districts and other things that make it more confusing for voters to figure out who they're voting for each year. In North Carolina, I like to say we should be doing voting maps every 10 years, but we seem to think it's fun to do them every year. So educating folks about what's on their ballot, how they can figure out which district they're in, where they can see their sample ballots and figure out what they're actually voting for, and how those offices also impact their lives every day is what You Can Vote focuses on. We are nonpartisan. We're not going to tell you who to vote for. We don't represent or work with any candidates or parties. Rather, we're focused on the mechanics, the nuts and bolts of what does every single voter need to know to successfully make it to their polling place and cast their ballot and make sure that that ballot counts every single time. We also know that for new voters and young voters, if they vote multiple times when they first become eligible, they're more likely to become voters for life. It's building a habit, and we want to make sure that the habit of voting is ingrained in every single North Carolina young adult as soon as they turn 18. So we do this by working in high schools, including here with Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. We go into schools, we have a curriculum that is aligned with North Carolina curricular standards for civics and US history. So we can go into classrooms and provide enrichment content that works for teachers and is engaging to students and gets them excited about civic engagement and how they can be involved in their communities. We also work on college campuses. This includes our North Carolina Civic Fellows program. So if you have any college students in your lives, we will be hiring more fellows in 2025. And these are paid positions where they get trained to organize their peers, because we know that students and young people are more likely to listen to people their age and people that they already are around and trust. So by training students on campus to deliver voter education content to their peers, we can get more traction within that key age group as soon as they become eligible. We also work with college administrations through the North Carolina Campus Voting Challenge. This is about building plans with colleges and universities across the state to make sure that they are reaching out and feel confident delivering nonpartisan voter education information on campus in ways that are effective and work for students. And then we work in communities. We go out here in Charlotte. Yesterday we were at Charlotte Football Club for their game. We're at community festivals. We're working with churches and community groups, community partners, social service agencies, government agencies even, to make sure that their constituents are receiving the voter education services that they need to successfully cast their ballots. So I want to leave you with a couple things. One, make sure that you all are sharing this information with your friends and family. We have some free toolkits that you can download online for if you want to share social media information, if you want to send emails to your friends, if you want to share information with your colleagues at work. There's flyers you can download for free. We provide all of that as a free service available to anyone in the state of North Carolina, because we know that having trusted and accurate voter information is key to making sure that every vote counts this year. I also want to encourage you all to go vote early. Early voting starts on October 17th and runs until November 2nd this year. That is the best way to make sure that your vote counts, because same-day registration is available during early voting. So if there's any issues with your registration, you can fix it right then and there. If you wait until November 5th and go on election day, you have to go to your assigned polling place, and if there's any issues with your registration, there's nothing you can do at that point. So please share this information with your family and friends. I'll be available after the service also to answer any questions that you may have. But thank you so much for choosing You Can Vote to support and for having me here today.
For other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you were on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something that you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
As we prepare to light our chalice, please hear these words from Dag Hammarskjöld. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and to give back. Please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. Those are found in your bulletin. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our call to worship found in your bulletin. Welcome to this place where certainty transforms to questions. This place that takes what is and imagines what can be.
Welcome to this space where what was fixed begins to shift, where rigidity embraces unfolding as we join in the dance of transformation.
Welcome to this moment of change where together we transfigure and transcend together. Our opening hymn is found in our gray hymnal, number 359, When We Are Gathered. Please be seated. I invite any young ones to come forward for our Time for All Ages with Miss Madia.
Good morning. Today, we're talking about change. And to talk about change with you, I brought some Play-Doh. You want to hold on to that? Some for you, and some for me. I'm having trouble getting all of it out of the container. So Play-Doh, when we pull it out of the tube, what shape is it? It doesn't really have a shape, right? But what do we need to do to the Play-Doh in order to give it a shape? We can roll it. It's a really good job. What happens when we roll the Play-Doh? What shape does it turn into? Okay, so if we roll it like that, it turns into a tube. Kind of looks like a worm. What else can we do to the Play-Doh to make it a different shape? It's a little one. What else can we do to it? What other shapes can we make? We can roll it like this, and it turns into a ball. Well, people change too. Do we change like Play-Doh? No, we can't like squish us into a different shape. That's not really how humans work. But humans learn different things, and that's a type of change. What's something that you've learned recently? I've learned recently, I started picking up. Recently, I learned how to embroider. So I picked up embroidery, which is a new skill. And when we learn new skills, we add things to ourselves, and that turns us into new people. So what are some things you can learn how to do? You, as children learn how to ride bikes. Sometimes children learn how to do things like sports. Do either of you play sports? You play soccer. Did you have to learn anything new when you played soccer? You need to kick. And you had to learn the right way to kick. There's a lot of different ways to kick, but in soccer we have specific ways to kick. So that was making you a better soccer player. So we took you and then we added a new skill, and now you are a better soccer player. What are some other things? We can learn how to ride a bike. We can learn how to read. We can learn how to ride a scooter, very good. And all of of these things that we as people learn as we grow change us into the person we're going to become. Isn't that kind of cool? Wouldn't it be super cool if humans were like Play-Doh, though? We could just like squish into different shapes. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of scary, but also kind of cool, right? So we're going to take our Play-Doh. We're going to squish it back into the tube. Squish. Thank you. Oh, so helpful. And we are going to learn something new today. I'm going to go back to the nursery with you, and we're going to learn a new song. So after today, you'll have one more change added to your brain. You're going to have learned something new. Are you ready? Yes, let's go.
At this point, we are entering to our time of sacred sharing, a time of ritual where we share joys and sorrows, concerns, and milestones. The candles we light this week, we first light a candle for Susan B., who was in the hospital last weekend, is home doing much better, but is certainly continuing to deal with her health concerns. We also light a candle for Todd, who is Beth has been his guardian for a number of years, and his legal guardian, and he is in the hospital right now. So we light a candle for both Beth and Todd. We light a candle for an end to the epidemic of gun violence, for an end to political violence and rhetoric, and for a peaceful democratic process in our country. For the ongoing struggle for civil rights in Iran. For the immediate relief of the people of Gaza. For all areas of violence around the world, especially Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and the war in Ukraine. Now, at this time, you are invited to come forward as you would like to do so. I invite you to come along the far wall. We have our prayer stand here. You may fill out a prayer card and place that on the rack if you would like. You may light your own candle of joy or concern, or you may drop a stone in our shared water. Come forward as you feel called to do so. we now light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. Now, at this time, we will have a period of quiet rest or prayer or meditation. I will sound the singing bowl, and then I invite you to slow your breath, settle into your seat, and to imagine that the center, the core of who you are, is a big ball of white light that's providing warmth and light and wisdom. And that this light that you carry within your very being is changing and transforming you every moment, every day, in very powerful and very welcome ways.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from I Call That Church Free by James Luther Adams. Excuse me. I call that church free, which enters into covenant with the ground of freedom, that sustaining, transforming power not made of hands. It protests against the idolatry of any human claim to absolute truth or authority. I call that church free, which liberates from bondage to the principalities and powers of the world, whether churchly or secular, and which promotes the continuing reformation of its own and other institutions. It protests against routine conformity or thoughtless nonconformity that lead to deformity of mind and heart and community. I call that church free, which in charity promotes freedom and fellowship, seeking unity in diversity. I call that church free, which responds in responsibility to the Spirit that blows where it lists. The tide of the Spirit finds utterance ever and again through a minority. It invites and engenders liberation from repression and exploitation, whether of nation or economic system, of race or sex or class. It bursts through rigid, cramping inheritance, giving rise to new language, to new forms of cooperation, to new and broader fellowship. The Church of the Spirit is a pilgrim church on adventure. I call that church free, which is not bound to the present, which cowers not before the vaunted spirit of the times. It earns and creates a tradition binding together past, present, and future in a living tether and a continuing covenant and identity, bringing forth treasures both new and old.
Thank you, Anne. Now, you may have heard that saying that the skin on your body totally regenerates over a time every 7 years, right? That every 7 years you're actually physically a new person. And it's actually kind of true. Our skin cells regenerate every few weeks. In fact, we lose about 500 million skin cells every day. Who knew, right? Cells in our skeletal muscles might take up to 15 years to regenerate. I know some of us know there are some cells which don't regenerate or don't easily regenerate, like with our brain or spinal cord. Now, we're not here for a science lesson today, and I'm certainly no scientist. I'm a theologian, okay? But this interesting factoid, I think, is fascinating in how it relates to what we are talking about today with our theme. Our very physical bodies are constantly changing and transforming. The skin that we see, that we feel on our own bodies, is constantly changing and transforming. Now, we do notice some of these changes, especially as we age, right? Some of us might see a few more wrinkles or fine lines than we used to see before. I'll never forget when I saw my first gray hair. I was standing at an overhead mirror in the bathroom, and I thought, oh, my daughter who was in middle school, I thought, she's had that glitter out again. What's this silver thing right here? And it was my body changing, right? So the fact is that our bodies are changing every day in multiple ways of which we are just not even aware. So today we are continuing with our monthly theme of invitation, and we are exploring the invitation to change. Now, the thing about change, we are changing and evolving every moment, every day. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We can't stop changing. It's an essential part of our existence. But what we can do is revise how we engage with change, how we engage with change, how we accept the invitation that it offers. Now, when we think about spiritual change, here in the West, we often think of a linear process. We imagine that A plus B equals C, just like a straight line. Some of us might have even heard the term backsliding. see some nodding heads here, that our spiritual journey regresses instead of anytime we think, oh, we're at C, but then we end up back at B, that we've backslid and that we're regressing. We might hear people talk about a big spiritual experience. Sometimes they call it a mountaintop moment. And then they spend days, weeks, months, perhaps years trying to get back to that one time of connection with divinity. But the spiritual journey is not a straight line where we only move forward or backward. It is instead a dance. The dance is filled with fluid steps, and even when we repeat the steps, there's always change. We are not at the exact same place in the dance. The point in time is different. Our hands and feet and hips move in slightly or dramatically different ways. And even if we repeat the same step just 10 seconds later, we are not the same person. Our cells are changing. The air we breathe is different. While our eyes see, the way we look at the world is different. Now, if we refuse to acknowledge change, if we insist on returning to what seemed like a holy or sacred time, believing that that experience is better than anything that might be out in the future, we will find ourselves in arrested development. And arrested development means that we refuse the invitation to change. We refuse the invitation to change and all the wonderful opportunities that it offers. Now, why are so many people resistant to change? There's probably a number of reasons, but I think the primary one is fear. If we willingly accept the invitation to change along our spiritual journey, then we don't know what we are truly in for. I had a beloved professor in college who has studied in Scotland for some time, and so he would often call me Lassie. He said, "Lassie, be careful what you pray for because you might really get it." I think many of us have heard that. Be careful what we want because we might really get it, and it's never quite exactly what we imagined, is it? When we accept the invitation to change, we don't really know what will happen. And yes, that can be scary. Accepting the invitation to change with our spiritual journey means that perhaps we don't have all the answers, that we don't know what path awaits us, that we might need to let go of some of the things we hold so dear. But in that freedom and letting go, we're able to have our hands and hearts open for something far greater than we could imagine if we were always in charge. Accepting the invitation to change, scary though it may be at times, is always better than being in arrested development. In arrested development, our very spirits wrinkle and atrophy, unable to participate in the dance of the Spirit. So how do we accept the invitation to change? How are we intentional in this acceptance and not just going along with whatever happens? You know, there are some people who say, well, you know, whatever happens, it just happens, right? Just kind of going with the flow. But if we are actively trying to accept this invitation to change that every day offers us, what does that mean for us? We accept the invitation to change by intentionally and mindfully responding each and every day. In whatever way best speaks to us along our spiritual journey, I encourage us to state an openness of heart and soul. Now, we might begin our day, we might either if you're like me and have a hard time waking up in the morning while I'm still lying in bed, I might think, I welcome the change of my spirit this day. Or you might be someone who pops up and does some exercises every morning or goes out and walks the dog. And you can say or think, I welcome the change of my spirit this day. You might write the words in a soul collage or in a journal. You might, at the end of the day, reflect on how your soul has been changed, those small little incremental ways, or maybe some bigger way of the big event that happened that day. You might create a soul collage card, or perhaps find an image which invites change. And then keep that image before you on a daily basis. I often, when I have a soul collage card or find an image that is speaking to me, and oftentimes I don't quite understand everything it's trying to say to me, I'll put it on the mantle above my fireplace, my living room. I see that every day. And I might keep it up there for a few weeks even. I have a dear friend who gave me a Taylor Swift kind of saints candle, one of the big long candles. It's been up there for a few months. It speaks to me in different ways. Not literally, okay, but it speaks to me about who I'm called to be in my heart and my soul. We might even join with a friend throughout our days, encouraging the other to welcome change or letting our friend know, I want to welcome change into my life, or these are some ways that change has been entering into my heart. Now, after we spend some time, a few days, a few weeks, being intentional and mindful about responding to the invitation to change, it's important to take time to reflect on that. It's important for us to look back along this journey, the dance that we've already done, the steps that are behind us, and to reflect on what changes have taken place in our lives, because that informs our dance of the Spirit in the future. And there are times we might reflect in community with a friend or with a small group about what those changes have been, and that can help encourage others. There are so many times that people who have been like mentors to me, or even people I only met for a short amount of time, have reflected on their own spiritual dance, and it's helped inspire me or encourage me. With reflection, recognizing the myriad of changes which have transformed our spiritual journey, being thankful for that path, that will enable us to more fully welcome change as we continue in the dance. So today, we give thanks for this invitation. We accept it into our lives. We accept the invitation to change as individuals and as a faith community here with Piedmont UU Church. We welcome this. We ask to be guided in spirit and wisdom as we continue the dance as individuals and as a community. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Thank you, Anne. So for those of you who have been with our church for a while, you might recall that every October we have our Generosity Pledge campaign. So we're going to be kicking that off on Saturday with this wonderful picnic. Sam and Risa are providing the food for us. So please do sign up for that if you've not done so. And if it gets to be Friday and you think, oh, I forgot to sign up, please come along. We're doing the food such that, you know, if we have some people we're not expecting, we will still have plenty to do that. So, and also for any of you who have children, Madia has some fun games planned for the kids. It's going to be a fun time. So in light of preparing to have this wonderful opportunity in October to make a pledge to help support our church throughout the upcoming calendar year, one of the co-leads from our generosity team is going to be speaking today. Rhiannon and Becky are co-leads and have been working very much with a great team. And so I invite Rhiannon to come forward for a generosity moment.
Good morning, everyone. How are y'all? You're good. Good to know. Good to know. So my name is Rhiannon Nestwick. I have been a member of the Piedmont UU Church for just about 1.5 years. Some of you may be thinking, well, I've never seen this person before. That's because I'm a church cryptid, and I show up maybe once every 6 months, and you kind of go, did I see that? Did I not? Okay. However, if you're part of the generosity team, you see me every week. You see me literally every week. So I wanted to talk today about why I support Piedmont UU. First of all, I'll definitely say this is a really kind space. It's a very supportive space. I've never come here and felt, oh, yeah, we don't quite like you. No, the vibes are not that. The vibes are good. I generally feel I come here, everyone's welcoming. As I think Anna had said one time, things go wrong in service, they don't see you for a while, but everyone's really kind and really loving and really wants the best for you. I want you to have a meaningful spiritual journey and actually enjoy your time here. And I really appreciate that. So for me, pledging support is a way that I can support this really wonderful space. And designing brochures is another way I can support this really wonderful space. And going to meetings every week and making sure that our pledge campaign is working well is another way I can support the space. So as we start preparing for the launch of this year's generosity campaign, I want to ask you, what do you love about this church? What do you love about this space? What do you appreciate about this space and these people? And as we prepare for our pledge campaign, I want you to remember that our investment, our support, our time, talent, and treasure are what keep this space the warm, welcoming, and friendly space that it is. So this year, I want to tell you, please join me in supporting our pledge campaign as we unite in love for the future of Piedmont UU Church. Thank you.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us. A community of memory and of hope. We are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with Rowan Helping Ministries. Rowan Helping Ministries' mission is to serve through cooperative community action our neighbors in Rowan County who are in crisis by providing essential life needs and educating and empowering them to break the cycle of crisis. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room. And you are always welcome to give online at puc.org or by texting PUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now be received.
We give thanks for each one of you and all the many ways that you help support this church and the work that we do in our community and in our world. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn found in our great hymnal, number 324, Where My Spirit Onward, Free Spirit Onward Leads. Now, before we extinguish our chalice today, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who help make our service possible. We also ask that before you leave the space today, if you can take your hymnals and place them on the cart near the piano, that's a big help. Now let us take a moment to give thanks, either in our hearts or verbally, for the things for which we are grateful today.
I'm thankful for new people like Brianna and others, and Becky, who's been here a long time. That's what makes me come back. It's the people. The people are this church.
Yes, for Rhiannon and Becky and the people of this church.
As I was driving here, I was thinking how thankful I was for all the people who are making our elections safe. So I am grateful that Amy's here to say thank you, and to all the people who are doing that work.
Yes, for Amy with You Can Vote, and for all the people who are doing the work to keep our elections safe.
Grateful for the fall equinox service we had last night and all the participants.
For our fall equinox service last night, participants, and I will say for Cosette, who planned such amazing services like that. Thank you.
I'm grateful for the blueberries from Carl and Myrna's farm.
Oh, the Hesse blueberries from the farm, which are in the muffins that Gail made this morning. So, yay! Okay, something to look forward to. The Coffee Fellowship. Yes, Ann.
I'm grateful remembering the life of Judy Poller, a beloved member who died in the house fire 3 years ago this week. I hope Bruce Love still is here and also at the hospital in Concord where she worked for 20 years.
Yeah, Judy Polar, who we lost 3 years ago. So. I know we are grateful for this and so much more, which we hold in our heart this morning. So before we have our closing blessing, I want to remind you of the exciting things we have going on. So The meeting house here, Madia, it's a walk-through event. You can come and go, say as you want. She has several rooms set up with all sorts of wonderful things about band books, including some action. So I hope that once you get a muffin and some coffee or whatever, you'll go over and go through that. She would love to see you, and it is for all ages. Soul Collage is meeting here, probably about 15, 20 minutes after the service. We'll have a couple tables in here. I do have a little bit more space. If you did not sign up, you are welcome to stay and join us for that. And also, Amy, You Can Vote is going to be here during the coffee fellowship. So if you have any questions or would like more information. So. Receive now this blessing. We have been changed, transformed in this last hour. Let us go forth, inviting our hearts, minds, and souls to continue to be changed by love, hope, and community. May it be so. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. Now for our closing hymn, we form a circle, and you may hold hands if you would like to do so, or you may simply place your hand on your heart.